Willie Aucamp. Government of National Unity, 5 more years of ANC control.
It's not under ANC control. It's a government of national unity. Tonight we will hear the first time the president addressing the country in a State of the Nation address where he is not the president of a one-party governing party or government. It's a government of national unity. The Democratic Alliance is a big partner. We are the second largest partner in this government of national unity. And I can tell you now that a lot of what you hear tonight will be measures that the Democratic Alliance in cabinet and behind the scenes have put in place. When the Democratic Alliance entered the government of national unity, we made it clear that there are two primary things that we need to do in this country. We need to grow the economy and we need to create jobs. Any measures that are counterproductive towards growing the economy and growing jobs will not be supported by the DA. There are several issues that we have argued with the ANC about, but I believe that President Ramaphosa bought into that. We need to provide services to the people of South Africa. I think one of the issues that President Ramaphosa will address tonight is how we can turn around the dismal affairs at local government level. Local government is the coal face of service delivery. It's where everybody on normal day life, rich, poor, everybody get their services primarily on local government level. Their water, their electricity, their sewer. And unfortunately, in most of the municipalities in this country, it's been run down. So the Democratic Alliance has proven where we govern, especially in local government as well, that we do it well. And we brought measures to the table and ideas to the table of how local government at other levels and in other provinces can also be turned around. We believe it is of utmost importance that we must have fiscal discipline. We can't keep on borrowing money. Anybody out there knows that you can try to borrow yourself out of financial trouble, but it just creates more trouble for you. We've got to aim at getting our debt to GDP ratio in the next 4 or 5 years below 70% and keep it there. And we've got to cut our debt service costs. 21 cents out of every rand, in other words, 21% of every rand that South Africa gets in goes towards paying our debt. It's crazy. It's much more than health. It's much more than education. It's much more than safety. So we need to get that in order. And in doing so, we will assist this country to create an environment that will be conducive to attract investments. And again, that will help us grow, and that will grow the economy, and that will help us get job creation done.
Great. Just help me understand, didn't the DA make red lines in terms of the BELA Bill, NHI? For example, I remember on a Cape interview, Helen Zille said, BELA Bills are red lines.
Yeah, but exactly. So this is what happened with the BELA Bill, is we said to the government of national unity and the ANC in that government that we do not accept BELA in the format that it is. So there were negotiations, and it was agreed that the Minister of Basic Education, which is a DA minister, can now draft the norms, standards and regulations by which BELA will be implemented. That was what was asked by AfriForum and Solidarity and all the other unions. So the only thing that happened
is... It seems like they're still bothered by this.
So what happened there is they would have been satisfied if the minister first drafted the regulations and thereafter the president signs it into law. The president signed it into law and implemented those clauses, and now expects the minister to draft the norm, standards and regulations. So the act came into being, but the practicality thereof is that you cannot practically implement it without the norm, standards and regulations. So, and that is what's going to happen now. So on BELA, we made it clear this is where we stand, and I think that is a huge win. I'll rather have a DA minister drafting those norm, standards and regulations than an ANC or EFF or MK minister that might have done that. With regards to the Expropriation Bill, the Democratic Alliance made it clear from day one that we are opposed to that bill, which is now an act. That is why the Democratic Alliance is taking this to court. We are busy currently drafting our core documents. We believe that there are several aspects of that bill that is unconstitutional. It's not a bill anymore, it's been signed. And the Democratic Alliance will take that on. A couple of years ago, the Democratic Alliance was instrumental in preventing the ANC government then of changing the Constitution and Section 25, specifically with regards to property rights. And we said at that stage that Section 25 and the Constitution and other current acts makes provision for expropriation. Obviously, expropriation sometimes need to take place. You've got to build a power line, you've got to build a road, you've got to build infrastructure. Expropriation must take place. In other words, this road that we stand on.
It seems like you have a different opinion to what you had in the election.
No, not at all.
Expropriation bill was a red line. This was part of the doomsday coalition. This cannot be passed.
No. Remember, if you look at the NHI bill or BELA or the expropriation bill, there are certain items in that bill that's necessary and that we agree with. But unfortunately, you must look at the bill as a whole and look at the items in it. So there are items in this expropriation bill that's totally unconstitutional. Let me give you a practical example. The bill or the act makes provision that when a governing body wants to expropriate land or property, they must enter into negotiations with the property owner. That's good. But it goes further, and it says that in the instance where they can't reach an agreement, in other words, the property owner and the expropriating authority, then the expropriating authority can expropriate that property without giving compensation. And that's not good, because now you can't negotiate with a gun against your head. Everybody going into negotiations like that with government does so with a gun against his head, because he knows that if I'm not going to accept what government is offering me, they can come and expropriate what I've got without paying me. And then that property owner has got to go through all these lengthy legal processes and costly processes. So that's totally unacceptable. There are other instances that says that even where an amount has been agreed upon, immediately the transfer of the property into the name of the expropriating authority, in other words, government, takes place. But it goes further and says the delay in payment does not halt the transfer of the property. So now government and myself, whoever reach an agreement, property is being transferred, I'm waiting for my money, and government takes 2, 3, 4, 5 years not paying me. That's unfair. And in effect, it's expropriation without compensation, because what must I do now? So there's a lot of instances that and irregularities or different versions of different articles in the act. So yeah, the Democratic Alliance is definitely taking this on. So it is still something that is very important for us. You ask about the NHI. Just yesterday, the leader of the Democratic Alliance, John Steenhuisen, and Minister Gwen Ramakgopa of Planning, Monitoring, Evaluation, as well as Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, the Minister of Health, came to an agreement that in the NHI, which we've got a lot of problems with, but one of the main issues was individuals' right to have private medical aids.
Yeah.
And if the NHI would have been implemented as they wanted to, it would have had a huge negative effect on private medical aids in future years. And the agreement yesterday was made that private medical aids will remain. There will be nothing in the Act that will have an effect on that. So now we need to go through that process. It's been an informal agreement. There's a ministerial task team that has been developed to discuss all of that. So yeah, we are definitely standing by what we say. The Democratic Alliance have never changed our stance on that. And it's very important that everybody out there must know that we should stand together and fight what we believe for. It's going to take time. We knew.
How long?
Oh, every day something like that happens yesterday. So people might have thought that it will take longer for that to happen. Other things might take longer than we anticipated to be. Thing is that how do you eat an elephant? Piece by piece, every day, keep on eating, you'll get that elephant finished. But you've got to carry on and have resilience, and that is what we're going to do.